What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. I'm super pumped to introduce my next guest to you today. He's an author, he's a coach, consultant, and a digital agency owner, among many other things, as you'll come to find out. And he also focuses on helping entrepreneurs and other digital agencies to design, build, and optimize their sales funnels and sales strategies. He's the host of the Intentionally Inspirational Marketing Talk podcast, and says that if you're looking for documented expertise and marketing guidance in everyday language that you can actually understand, then you should head over to his website, intentionallyinspirational.com, where he offers a free 3-part video training series on how you can do all of that. So please welcome to the show, Jason Wright.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day today to come and talk to us and share some of that wisdom and insight that you have. Sounds like you've got a lot of experience, behind you in business and multiple different industries, which I'd love to get into. But, as I do with every one of my guests, I was doing a little research on you before we got started here, and I actually saw a celebration post that you made recently where you were talking about how you started kind of a new journey to support your wife, that she wanted to try keto, like a keto diet. And you mentioned that you've lost over 40 pounds yourself, which is insane, man. Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Can you tell us a little bit more kind of about that story?
Yeah. So my wife has, like many people out there, has been trying to lose weight for a while, and she's tried different stuff. You buy this program, they give you the meals, and it's like $400 a month. And it's like, can't you just eat differently? Like, do we really need to do all that? And the stuff didn't work because usually the food's horrible or the plans don't make sense. So she was talking about keto for a while, and I didn't know much about it. And I'll be honest with you, I gave her a hard time about it. I was like, that's not going to work. Like, don't do that. Just eat less and work out, just do that. So the night before she was going to start, she said, hey, tomorrow's my day. I'm starting. And I said, remind me why you haven't started yet, because I'm a big action guy, And she's like, well, I've been researching it. This book teaches you why we're doing it and all that. So I was like, you know what? I'll do it with you. Because I know that if I do it with you, you might actually have a chance of sticking with it. So what the hell? I don't have any weight to lose, or so I thought. But we'll give it a shot and see. So I was like, what's this consist of? And she said, no gluten, very low sugar. And I was like, ooh, those two things there hurt, but let's do it. So that was maybe like 5 months ago. We're both down right about 40 pounds now. And I'm 6'5". So I was 257. And I'm right around 217-ish now, and I feel great. I look great. Knees and back don't hurt anymore. I just thought I was getting old, but maybe the weight had something to do with it. So it's kind of a lifestyle change for us, and it's sustainable, and it's been really positive for both of us.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, no doubt. And I love when you get results from something that you weren't even really expecting, you kind of, like you say, you did this sort of to support her and give her kind of like an accountability partner to help keep her on track. And lo and behold, you both ended up benefiting considerably. So that's awesome, man. And I think, health is a big part of success, obviously. And without a healthy body, it's going to be tough to go out and be, productive in society. So that's really cool, man. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
And so how tell us a little bit about your background and sort of how you got into business. I mean, like I said, we were talking a little bit, and I know you've got a number of different businesses going on right now. Is this sort of something that's always been part of your life, or is it kind of a recent development? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, and I'll say probably 7th, 8th grade, my passion in life was fishing. Loved to go fishing. And every week I was like, hey, Mom, can we go to Galleons, which was a sporting goods store that Dick's Sporting Goods actually bought out. It doesn't exist anymore. But I was like, can we go to Galleons to buy lures? Well, at a certain point, my mom's like, you've got more fishing tackle than anybody I know. Like, we've got enough. I was like, what do you mean? Like, for how long? She's like, forever. And I'm like, that's not going to work. So she's like, we better figure out how to get some money and buy your own. Okay. So like literally shortly after that, I figured out that there's some people that never cut their grass. Like in our neighborhood, maybe they just don't like cutting grass. I knocked on the door and said, hey, can I take care of this for you every week? And by the time I was 14, I had 3 accounts on my street that I mowed, and I made $75 a week, all of which went into fishing tackle. So I was living large, and you just used my stepdad's equipment and just got that taste of earning my own dollar. And it's like I figured out pretty young, like if you want stuff, go work for it. Like, what a wild idea, right?
Right.
So My parents were very traditional: go to school, get your degree, go get a job with good benefits, blah, blah, blah. Never really liked that. Went to college, started another landscaping business, grew that for about 7 years, and then got to that point where it's like, I need to hire a crew or I need to quit and finish school. I can't do both. So I was dating my wife at the time. Everybody in my life said, you got to go the safe route. You got to go for the school thing. So I did, and it was not fun. After about 7 years, I literally was like, I would rather be dead than continue down this path. I hate my existence. And everybody said, well, you got to think about what you're able to do. But I'm like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. And nobody seemed to get it. So I was like, I'm going to have to force this. So I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I jumped corporate America for the wrong reasons, and I failed horribly. And almost lost everything we had. It was a really bad time. And marriage suffered, relationships suffered, people laughed at me. But I knew myself well enough to know that when I figure this out, whatever I'm trying to do, there won't be anybody laughing. There won't be anybody laughing at all. So, one of the first things I learned online is if you want to do anything online, you have to figure out some kind of marketing or nobody knows you exist. And as I started to figure out pieces of that, I started to realize, hey, there's a lot of people that need help with this. And that's kind of how I got to where I'm at now with Intentionally Inspirational.
That's awesome, man. You said a lot of things that I think are really important, just for everyone to understand about the journey. First off, I mean, when you first started, thankfully your mom helped you realize this, but like you say, you have to work for the things you want in life, right?
Yep.
And what's interesting about it is, as a kid, you were able to go out and identify a problem. I mean, you saw yards that needed to be cut, right? So it's like,
Yep.
okay, how can I provide value to these people? I can cut their yard and they'll pay me so I can go buy the things I want to do. And just making that connection at such a young age, I think is really kind of a blessing in a way. A lot of people, they don't realize how to provide value in a marketplace, or how to, like, they think about, well, I want to do something, but I don't know what I should do. And, that's kind of like the big thing they get stuck on. I mean, what is like some advice that you could give to somebody on approaching that, that idea that I want to go out and do something for myself? Maybe they're, like you say, they're unhappy where they're at right now. Like, how can they sort of create that opportunity for themselves?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's so many, and I'm a real straight shooter. There's so many legal ways to make good money, especially with the internet. It's unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable. So here's actually in a Facebook group that I run, free Facebook group. I actually posted this either last night or this morning, somewhere on that line, late night. But I said there's a mindset shift that I grabbed about a year and a half ago. When I made this shift, everything changed for me. And here's what it is. I'm just going to speak from my experience, and you tell me if you felt this way as well. But you go into something new thinking, maybe, I'm just using an example, maybe I want to do email marketing for people, just making something up, but I don't know enough, so nobody will pay me. I need my 10,000 hours of expertise, whatever the case may be, and that's completely false. Mm-hmm. All right. If you talk to people and you can plug in anything digitally here, this will work, I promise. If somebody says, hey, Jason, I need some email marketing set up, this is what I want, but I don't have time to do it. Or I could learn it, but I don't want to learn it. People always say that, and they're full of crap. They couldn't learn it because they won't put the time in. But if you would just literally say, I don't really know it any better than you, but I'm willing to learn and find out, and I assure you that I'll deliver, people will hire you. People will pay you good money for being the expert. And the expert, you need to know 5 to 10% more than your client. That's it. Most of it comes down to making the effort and executing, not you knowing the answer to every question. So if I wanted to go start, and I'm not going to try to upset anybody, but if I wanted to start painting, even though I've never painted professionally, I promise you that I could land jobs because I understand, sir, I'm willing to paint your house, and when it's done, you will be happy with every piece, or I will not stop till you're happy. And then whatever skills and equipment I need, I promise you I'm going to go learn and figure it out, and I'm going to land jobs. Not because I'm the best painter, because I'm willing to do what the client's not willing to do, and I'm telling them it's going to be done correctly. It may take me 3 times longer than a professional crew that does it every day. I'm going to get it done. It's really the same thing online. So this inner voice that tells us like, hey, you don't have enough experience, or you're not worth this. It's a complete lie. It's a complete lie. It's unbelievable. And not in a bad way, but what people will pay you for based on you being the one willing to make the effort. Or you being honest saying, yeah, I can do this for you. You don't even have to say I've never done it. If you're confident and you can use this crazy thing called Google and figure it out, you can make really good money helping people online. So it doesn't matter what your interest is. People spend money, so much money every day in some of these different areas online. And a great place to focus on is how can I save my client time? Because that's what people really value. It's not money as much as it is time.
Yeah.
Sorry for the long-winded answer. I don't know if I got off path. Maybe I got off and back on a few times.
No, it's awesome, man. And I think it's totally right that if you have a mindset of I'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is, but I'll figure it out. If I don't know how to do it, I'll either figure
Yep.
it out or find someone who does, you know?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think, that's super important that, if you can instill that sort of just idea within yourself about every problem you come across, right? You
Yep.
will create value for anybody, whether you're actually trying to sell something or you're just trying to help, the neighbor next door. Like you said, maybe he needs to paint his gutters or something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, look, man, I don't necessarily know how to do this, but I know I can do it, right? I can figure it out for you. And you don't have the time. You don't want to deal with it. Let me do it for you. I'll take it off your hands, and boom, there you go. You've created value. So I think, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And, another thing too that's really interesting is just the idea of like you mentioned this earlier, just being an action taker, right?
Yep.
A lot of people sit and stew on what they should do or how they should do it instead of just taking action and doing something, right? Can you speak
Yep.
a little bit about that sort of, that imperfect action beats perfect inaction sort of, cliche, if you will?
Yeah, that's one of the most powerful laws of the business universe, I think, that exists. It's so important. If I get an idea to try something, I just try it. You know how many times I fail? Most of the time, all the
Mhm.
time. And it doesn't phase me because when you try something, it lets you know a few things. A, do I even like this? Is this something, do I want to learn this or do I just hate this? Like with me, do I want to do coding for your website? Hell no. I hate it. I hate it. So I don't ever want to go there, but I know that because I've walked into that water before.
Mhm.
So taking action, if somebody wants to compete against me in something and it comes down to who takes action first or who sticks with things the right way, I'm going to kill you every time. You're not going to beat me on that. I'm an action guy. Super imperfect, impolished action beats that overanalyze, over prep every single time. I literally know entrepreneurs, good friends of mine, that have been talking about the same stuff for 2, 3 years,
Yeah.
and they could literally implement it in 30 minutes and nothing's changed. And I'm like, you know what? Don't talk to me about it ever again. I don't want to hear it. It's boring. Do something.
Yeah.
So,
It gets frustrating when you hear people talk all the time and then you never see
yep,
them actually do anything.
yep.
Yeah, it's a clear indicator of who's going to be successful and who's not going to, right?
It is, and it's interesting because there's two kind of extreme examples you could use with something. Like don't risk more than you're willing to lose. And obviously, if you're going to possibly lose your life, probably not a good scenario to be in. But if we're talking about losing money, uh, don't risk everything you've got. And if you lose it, I mean, you could end up homeless. So don't risk more than you're willing to lose, but you got to be willing to bet to stay in the game. It's kind of like playing in Vegas or something. You got to kind of hedge your bets. But what's the worst that can happen with whatever you're thinking about doing? Could you lose 4 or 5 grand on something? Maybe, but you could blow that on eating out in a year. Or you could blow that on stupid clothes that are still in your closet. Or you could blow that on a cruise that you enjoyed for 5 days and you never go on again. I mean, there's a lot of things like that people get hung up on. I was reading a conversation online yesterday, and somebody was talking about a WordPress site versus a ClickFunnels site and the difference in cost. And this guy's like, man, this client was overanalyzing this and I couldn't get him to go this way. And I'm thinking, if you have a client that's so obsessed over saving $60 a month and he doesn't understand the bigger picture of what you're trying to do for leads, you're talking to the wrong client.
Right.
Walk away because the conversation has ended up in the wrong place. All right. Where are they now? How are you going to get them to where they want to go? And are they going to hire you to make it happen or not? It sounds too easy, but it's really that easy when you talk to the right people that have money. So, taking action. I would encourage people listening. You've got 2 or 3 things you've always wanted to do. Just do it. What is the worst that can happen? Realistically, here's the worst that can happen is you stay where you are right now. Okay.
Exactly.
Are you going to do something and you're going to end up naked, homeless with a broken arm? Probably not. Okay. You're either going to stay where you are and learn, or you're going to stay where you are and you might actually improve your situation. Ooh, what a concept.
Right. What an
Take
idea.
chances, people. Yeah.
You know? And that's exactly it. I mean, if you just approach everything with like, what's the worst case scenario? Can I handle it? Uh,
Yeah.
more times, 9 times out of 10, right? It's going to be something that it's like, yeah, I think I can manage that. I can make it work. And I
Yep.
tell you, and I'm sure, you've been through many of these experiences yourself, and especially doing entrepreneurship and running your own business for so long. It's like you said, we fail all the time, but you have to try things in order to fail. And every failure brings a lesson, and
Yep.
it brings skill and experience that you can pull from, for the next task. And those that are out there succeeding, right, that we see all over the place, that have huge clients that, are killing it in their business, they have failed so many times. They have gone through so much struggle, but only because they're trying and they're doing, that they actually get to the point where they're at. I mean, you hit it right on the head. You can sit there and worry about it, but like the worst thing is you're just going to end up staying where you're at. And just one more point on that I wanted to talk about. I was talking to another guest that was on the show, and he talked about something that he learned from Tony Robbins, which is where, if you can envision yourself, the life that you're living now, right? And if you go 5 years ahead and you think about the life that you want, but all the things that you haven't done, right? So the people you haven't met, the jobs you haven't taken, the failures you haven't had, and then you go 10 years and you think, where am I now? Continuing not to do these things, right? And basically what you're setting up is this contrast. And then you turn around and you think about it, having done all of these things, what kind of life you could be living in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. When you extrapolate it like that and really see the true contrast, one is basically, what would life be like if I continued to do the same thing and not take any action and not take any chance? 20 years from now, like how effing boring is your life going to be? I mean,
Yep.
how many I wishes are you going to have and regrets? So it's like what alternative do you have? If you have the drive and if you have the desire to want to try something, just go try it. Like you gotta give it a shot. So anyway, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but
No, it's
you know,
interesting because this is a kind of an extreme scenario I started to talk about, but I didn't. So people always will say like, "Well, I can't do that." Like
mhm,
that's a powerful statement. Now, if you're in maximum security prison and it involves you being free, like I get it. Okay, I'm agree with you right now. You can't. You physically can't. You can't leave your environment. But if you're not in prison and you actually can like go walk out your door right now, there's a lot of things you can do. All right. If somebody said, I will give you $1 million cash if you step into your fear, could you do it then? Okay. On the other end, if somebody says, I am going to shoot the person in the head closest to you in life if you don't do it, could you do it then? People are motivated by different things, but if you could do it in one of those two scenarios, the only thing stopping you is you.
right,
It's all up here. And here's what I've found that is the most eye-opening thing in the world. The thought about doing something is 100 times worse than actually doing that thing.
right.
You find that to be true?
Absolutely. We create sort of misery and struggle in our life based on like things that aren't even happening. So if you look at anything that is, in your past, right? Like a bad experience or a traumatic event, and you're still dwelling on it, like you're still suffering from that which has already happened, right? You're
Yep.
still creating this suffering in your mind. Same goes with the future. Anything, something that may or may not happen tomorrow, by you simply anticipating that future, you're creating that suffering in your mind. And the worst tragedy of it all is that you're not actually living in the present. Whenever you're in either one of those two states, you're not focused on the now and you're not actively participating in your life. So I totally agree with that. And it's just, it's almost, it's a tragedy. It is, because so many people live this life and, they end up spending 60, 70, 80, 90 years on the planet and they still have never truly lived, and it's really sad. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I totally agree with that.
You'll appreciate this. So once upon a time, I worked in the publishing industry, and I was talking to this author, it's an older lady, and I was like, "What's holding you back from publishing your book? It sounds like your book's done." She's like, "Well, I've been revising it for 50 years." Whoa,
Wow.
what? 50 years? Like, what are we waiting for? And she was at the end stages of life. Okay, well, I'm just scared people are gonna judge me. And I said, I don't remember her name. I said, "Ma'am, people are gonna judge you in everything you do and don't do anyway. So this isn't gonna change that." And she was like, "Oh my God, I've never thought about that." So I had her and this other guy that were in the same boat, and I never could get her to commit. But this older gentleman finally committed and published his book. And it literally took him his whole life because of fear. He was scared of what people would think. And then he called me a few months after it's published. He was like, that was the greatest thing I've ever done. Like, I'm ready to die now. Not in a bad way, but like that was the most important thing I hadn't checked off, you know?
That's
And
amazing.
it's like, there's people out there that'll write a book in a month and publish it. We got people 60, 70 years. Like, what are you talking about? Publish it.
That's insane, you know, but it happens every single day. And I mean,
does.
you know, it's not hard to go down the street and meet somebody who can tell that same story, you know, dream
Absolutely.
unrealized. So yeah, for all of you listening right now, you just, you know, I know that this is a lot of, you know, sort of motivational, you know, hot air type of stuff, but like, you got to go for it. You got to try it. If you have anything that's worth, and again, well, that brings me to that point, anything worth doing takes work. You know, you got to give it its due, you know, its due process, but it's better than not trying at all. So anyway, well, that's very good motivation and inspiration for sure. And let's go ahead and transition into our next topic, which is really about this digital landscape. And we've kind of talked about, you know, how as an entrepreneur or starting entrepreneur, it can be, you know, it can be sort of daunting, but at the same time, there's endless opportunities out there. You know, can you speak a little bit about sort of your thoughts on like this world that we live in and some of the opportunities that we have?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started looking at digital marketing, the thing that got me that I think gets a lot of people, like you said, is, oh my God, there's so many different things that people can be doing. You know, what should I be doing? What social channels should I focus on? Should I be doing video, audio, or writing? And then what a lot of people do, and what I did is I tried to do it all myself. And for the first year of this business, I was making no money. I was really working a lot of hours. My wife's like, okay, you're working a full-time job and basically another full-time job. Like, what do you have to show for it? I'm like, I don't know. You know, what are you learning? I don't know. A little bit about a lot of stuff, but there wasn't really any value. And then I started to figure out, as I started to pay attention to people who are successful online, there's a lot of different paths to success. So you can look at people for inspiration and ideas, but you don't have to do somebody else's path.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like to do? You know, for me, I really, I kind of focused on ClickFunnels to start with. And then I realized, wait a minute, there's Facebook ads and there's Active Campaign, and those things all kind of lead to one another. And then I kind of nerded out on all of them. And I was like, man, I could make money in one platform. I could make money by referring the other two. And I kind of got into my own space there, but you don't have to use those platforms. You can use different platforms because they worked for my business, and I found out there was a demand. So I just kind of plugged myself in, and for me, found that crossroad of talent and passion, but you're not going to know where that's at unless you try some things.
Right.
You know, along the way, I tried a bunch of stuff. I tried to do copywriting for people, which I can do. I just don't really enjoy it that much. I don't want to write all the time. What else? What's some other things I've tried? Oh man, I don't even know. I've done WordPress work for people. Like, I'm okay, but I don't want to do that because there's so many different plugins. There's so many themes. I don't want to do that. I want to learn coding. So you have to just kind of sample what's out there, but understand that you want to look in areas of things that are at least interesting to you. You know, if Pinterest is something you've never used, it's probably not the greatest idea to put all your time into becoming a Pinterest expert. What social platform do you like?
Right.
Let's focus on that. There's people with success stories in every single one of them. So I think it's okay to realize that there's a lot of options, but you don't have to do them all. You don't have to do what your favorite, you know, entrepreneur online has done. So
yeah, definitely. And I love what you said earlier about, you know, if you want to be an entrepreneur today, like, you have to learn some element of marketing. I mean, that's really fundamental to getting started, because otherwise, how are you going to get your name out there? How are people going to find out about you? How are they going to know what you offer? And, you know, a big part of that, again, tying in with, you know, play within the fields that you're comfortable in when you first start out. I mean, if you don't use, you know, Instagram, why would you want to try to go market on Instagram right out of the gate? You know, there's like you say, there's success stories in every single opportunity or distribution network or anything you want to look at. Like, everyone has found success somewhere, right? It's because there is success to be found everywhere. So it's really just a matter of dialing it in, picking one thing and becoming really good at it. But in order to find that one thing, you got to try a lot of different things. And I don't know if you're a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, but I'm a big follower of Gary Vee. And like, one of the things that he's always preaching is like, taste everything. Like,
Yep.
especially if you're young, like go
Yeah.
try everything, man. Just,
Yep.
you have to get out there and get your feet wet and see what, what speaks to you, what resonates with you. And then you're going to find out what you're good at. And before you know it, I mean, the pieces just fall into place.
Yep. All the reviews in the world and all the secondhand feedback in the world does not compare to your own experience.
Right. For sure. That's really cool, man. Awesome. So let's talk about like what's exciting you at the moment, because I know you've got your podcast show, you've been on a lot of other podcasts, and you're really leveraging the internet in your business. Like what are some things that are exciting you right now?
Yeah, so I mentioned a little bit earlier, and this probably applies honestly to everybody. It's just an interesting concept, but I've always had that desire to give back, pay it forward, and teach. I just love keeping people moving forward. And with all this stuff we're talking about, if you're surrounded by people, which probably are, everybody is, close family and friends that are telling you all the reasons why you can't do this, you need to find some new friends. You need to start talking to different people. Because if you have no support, it's really easy to not get started with anything, because you're going to be the only voice amongst others wanting to do that. So my train of thought just completely derailed. What were we talking about?
Well, I was asking what you're excited about, and
I
you're
got you.
talking about your network.
Yep. So what I'm excited about here lately is helping other people kind of down the path that I'm on. So got a free Facebook group called Funnel Building for Profit. And what it is it's me teaching people that have no experience online how to make money in different areas, kind of the platforms I talked about. People that already have existing agencies, how to make more money, kind of working with the same clients in different areas and things like that as well. So I think you're going to start to see intentionally inspirational pivot towards teaching based more than client based as we move forward. It's a big passion of mine, and I can impact more people that way as well.
I love that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm actually in the exact same boat, man. I've been doing client work myself for a long time, and while it is fulfilling, and that you're helping your clients reach a goal that they're trying to get to, you're limited on how many people you can actually work for by doing done for you work like that. And that's one of the big reasons why I started this podcast. And I think, like you say, just leveraging the different tools. So you've got the Facebook group, the podcast, YouTube videos, whatever it is, but to actually teach, right? To teach others how to do this as well and do it for themselves. You can reach a lot more people and impact a lot more people. So that's awesome, man. And I love that you see that, and that's kind of your drive behind everything. Because again, I think we relate on that a lot. I'm the exact same way. And it's interesting how we're moving into a society where, like, people, even though there's so much information out there, it's like people are starving for good information,
Yep.
and for something that isn't coming with like an ulterior motive. It seems like most of the stuff out there, it's like, I'm going to give you just the tip, just a little piece. But if you want to actually know how to do it, you got to buy, this $1,000 course or whatever, which, I mean, it's a business model. I understand that. But, when you come with the giving hand and you're trying to provide value, like, even if you tell people exactly how to do something for free, they're going to pay you to do it because they don't want to do it. Like we were talking about, everybody wants to take time. They if you can just show them how to do something, they'll hire you to go ahead and do it because they're like, yep, this guy knows what he's talking about.
You know what's really crazy about what you just said? So I was talking to a client the end of last week, and he told me his dilemma, and he was wanting to automate a bunch of stuff on a big scale. So we started talking about what he's been trying to do. And I was driving around. I was like, I'm not in my office. So I'm envisioning this in my head. And he says, this is what I'm trying to do. And I was like, oh, I think you can do that. He said, I don't think I can. So I said, I'll tell you what, when I get home tonight or tomorrow, I'll make a screen share video of my idea on how we can do this. All right. If somebody would have given that to me, I'd be like, oh, I'll just build it off this video. I don't need the guy. The guy's hiring me anyway. You're going to pay me a really good amount of money to do it for him, even though I literally gave him the answers to the test. People don't want to spend their time on stuff they don't want to do.
Right.
You can make more money. You can't make more time. And if you figure out how to make more time, you'll be the richest human ever.
That is such a great insight, man. And yeah, it's true. It's like, you just like help by demonstrating that you can help, like simply demonstrating that, this, I know how to do this and this is how you can do it. Then they're just like, yep, do it for me, And I mean, of course you're going to have, the percentage of people that are just going to continue to take all of the free tidbits and try to piece it together themselves. Best of luck to them, right?
Yep.
It's those that understand, okay, this is what I need to do. I don't want to take all the time to learn how to do it myself. This guy clearly knows what he's doing and what he's talking about. Here you go, bro. Take my money and solve my problem. you know?
Yep.
So that's
Absolutely.
awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, let's go ahead and do another transition real quick and talk about the last topic, which is that work-life balance. And I know that this is something that, you are a big proponent of and you've got a lot of strategies around. So can you talk to us about how, you're managing it all? You've got the three businesses, you've got your kids, you've got your work, like your life, obviously. What are you doing, man? How do you make it work?
Yeah, I mean, entrepreneurship, I'll say hardcore entrepreneurship is a lifestyle. Honestly, my wife's in it. I'm in it. That's all we do. The kids, so I literally just had a conversation with my 8-year-old and my 13-year-old and said, guys, you have no excuse to ever be broke because you have opportunity, like literally slapping you in the face around here.
Yeah.
But like you say, you do have to have balance. So the mistake I used to make was I would work until I passed out from exhaustion every day. I'd wake up face down on this very computer I'm in front of right now, grease all over the keys from my nose and forehead. Like, man, I put it in there today. No one's going to outwork me and do it again tomorrow, but it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for any human on earth. Even Gary Vee sleeps, even Eric Thomas sleeps, which people think they're machines. But what I figured out is if I wake up and I eat breakfast and I drink coffee, and sometimes I work out, 3-4 times a week. Sometimes I take the day off, but I stay very active. All right. If I start my day off that way, and when I decide to plug into the business, I'm focused. I'm a freaking animal, but you have to be able to walk away.
Yeah.
Like my wife will say, hey, let's go to the next town 30 miles up the road. How long is it going to take? She'll be like 2 hours and ends up taking 6, like every time. She's like, we're here. Let's go here. But you know what? When I come back, it's good. I've spent time with the family. I've completely unplugged from the businesses, and you have to do that. I'm more, so you got to make an intentional separation from your business and your dreams and the stuff you're working on. Because if you stay in it too long, yeah, you may be in it 12 hours a day, but how effective are you at hour 12? I bet you're 50% or less of your potential. I would rather take 6 hours of me at 100% than 15 hours and I'm, 10, 15% at the end of it. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You end up wasting a lot of time. So you just got to force balance. You got to, some people like the morning routine. The health piece is important. Not saying you have to do keto, but I would say get on some kind of plan that's not just Twinkies and animal fat for every snack. Do something for your cardio or your weights. Do something because you only get one body. You're not going to be able to replace I guess you can replace a lot of it, but take care of your body, and it does take care of your mind. And the final piece of that equation is sleep. And I was real bad about not sleeping. You got to sleep. Certain point of the night, I may be like, I'm behind on all my deliverables, but I have to sleep because if I don't make that balance, I'm going to be garbage all day tomorrow too. You gotta just create that separation there. So
That's awesome. Yeah. And you're totally right. As entrepreneurs, we typically give up that 40-hour work week for like 100-hour work week or sometimes more. And
yep.
it's very easy to get wrapped up into your work, and being able to turn it off is something that, it's hard for a lot of people. I mean, I know for me, there's days where I go and it's like 4 o'clock and I haven't even eaten, and
Yep.
it's not that I'm trying to not eat. Like I literally just haven't even realized because I've been working on something for so long,
Yep.
So that's great advice. And obviously sleep is a huge part of it. I agree that, we need our rest because without, like they say, you can't give from an empty cup, right? And if you're not replenishing yourself and taking the rest that you need, there's no way you're going to be productive. I mean, you might be able to get some stuff done, but the quality is going to be lacking, right? Or the
Yep.
quantity is going to be like something's going to be lacking. It's just not going to be 100%. So it's really great advice. And like I got to ask, I don't know, maybe you don't have a problem with this, but I know a lot of people do. And you kind of talked about it when you go to sleep and let's say you've got some work that still needs to be done. Like, do you have any advice for how to shut your brain off? Because some people like literally just can't turn it off.
So I'm a real weirdo like that. I'm the guy that drinks black coffee before he goes to bed. And when I lay down, I'm out.
That's
Like
awesome.
I don't struggle falling asleep. And I know that is, hasn't always been that way in my life. When I was in the corporate world, there was a lot of stress. I think a lot of it for me was in the corporate world, there was a lot of stress that was completely out of my control. Situational stuff that I was like, man, if this guy decides I'm done, like, what am I going to do? I have no income. Now it's like if I lose an income source, I'll just get another one because I don't have one income source. So even though I may be behind on everything, I have to sometimes stop and go, hey, I'm the boss. I'll work when I'm ready to work. When I walk away, what's anyone going to do about it? You know what I mean? And it's almost like having that conversation with yourself that, yeah, maybe I missed some of my goals today, but it'll be there in the morning. And as long as my end result is above and beyond the client's expectation, it'll all work out fine.
Yeah.
And this is not what you asked me. What I figured out, I'm not saying be late on your work, but if you're late on your deliverables, if you're good enough to deliver what you say and then some, they never care.
Yeah.
They never care because the end result is so important to their business within my world with what I do for sure.
Awesome.
But it's something to keep in mind. So
Yeah.
I sleep like a baby. I know some people really struggle, and that's rough, man. I don't know. Melatonin, maybe that's kind of what I would say.
Yeah, no, and actually, I'm the same way. Like, I can drink coffee, like you say, and go right to bed.
Yep.
It's not been an issue for me either, but I know, that it is an issue for some people. And I think one thing that you said is really insightful, which is when you're out of control, right? When you're in a situation where you're out of control and that stress is constantly eating at you, like that's when you're going to have that nonstop talk and just drama going on upstairs that you just can't stop. Like, you have to create your reality in a way where you're in control of everything, at least to the degree where you can decide, I want to do this or I don't want to do this, but you're a slave to a system, then you're really out of control. And that's kind of when that stress sets in. So I think that's really powerful. And anybody can create that in their life. It's just a matter of making the choice, you have to go quit your job or anything like that, but understanding like your life is your life and you choose to do what you want to do. You take that control back and hopefully some of that stress can melt away,
Absolutely.
So awesome, man. Well, this has been a blast, Jason. I appreciate you coming by today. I got one more question for you before we wrap off. And that's basically, what is some advice that you would give yourself maybe 5 or 10 years ago?
Yeah. Can I shorten that timeline and say maybe 3 years ago?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what I would tell myself is, say, bro, you don't need to quit the full-time job. Get the side hustle started first. I used to be like, side hustles are for weaklings, but now I'm like, side hustle is the smartest thing you can do. Figure out what you like to do, start making some money for yourself. And then if you reach a point where you can, jump then, but don't just blindly jump and say, I'll figure it out on the way down. It's stupid. So I would say learn some patience. The timeline of when, we don't know that. All right. I don't know when I'm going to make my first million, but I know it'll happen. It'll either happen or I'll die first, but it'll happen. I don't think it's too far away just because I believe absolutely undyingly in what I'm doing and nobody can tell me otherwise. But I would just tell myself, be patient. Don't worry about the timeline.
Awesome. I love that, man. Patience is so key because at the end of the day, this is just a journey. It's not about a destination, right? The entire thing is going to be a journey because even when you do make your million, next is going to be 10 million, right?
Yep.
Then it's going to be 1 million lives impacted. And then, you know what I mean? The goals are always.
Absolutely.
So it's never really a destination. It's just, you're always part of that journey and understanding that is the key. Patience becomes really powerful. So awesome stuff, man. Awesome advice. What are you doing this, in your world today? Where can people find you? Tell everybody what's going on with Jason Wright.
Yep. So to find out most things about me, intentionallyinspirational.com is kind of my home base there, kind of get a feel for the brand I've created and what we're doing and how we're trying to help entrepreneurs. If you want to learn more about what I'm doing and maybe do some of that for yourself, funnelbuildingforprofit.com is a great place to go. Not only do I give you 3 free videos, but I give you an invite to a free Facebook group as well. And you're going to find a growing community of people that are talking about some of the stuff Corey and I are talking about today. And I'm trying to help them make money. I'm trying to help them give them options, open their eyes to the way things really are that a lot of people don't see. There's a lot more opportunity out there. So.
Awesome, man. I love it. Thank you for doing what you're doing, man. You're helping people break out of that grind and, helping them live a life that they can actually enjoy. It's something I'm very passionate about too. So I really appreciate you and what you're doing out there, man. And again, thanks for taking the time, jumping on the show today and spreading your wisdom and advice with us and insight and everything like that. It's been a blast, man. We'll see you on the next one.
All right. Thank you. See you.